Today in the crypto space, we're seeing a bit of a dip throughout the market. Bitcoin down approximately 2% below that $70,000 mark, and Ethereum still right around 3,500, however down approximately 2.5%. The rest of the crypto space, the altcoins, we have some deep retracements here: Beam, Aptos, Near Protocol, and many more. In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but more importantly, I want to talk about one altcoin, one project, part of a very bullish narrative that could be ready for a bounce, and that project is called Maple. So you know what? Let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunities. Whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. You can hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. All right, guys, let's begin. Let's see what's going on here. We can see a bit of a sell-off here. The market-wide sell-off, basically. We're seeing the overall market cap come down approximately 2%, while the volume is increasing, suggesting that the overall market is selling off here, guys. Potentially, trying to de-risk, given that Bitcoin is showing a bit of weakness here, down a bit, breaking below the structure, the sideways structure that it's been building in the last little while is not a good look. And you can see Ethereum coming down slightly heavier, pretty much dipping over. The question is how is this going to affect the altcoin market? The reality is Bitcoin, has been doing very, very well. And, here on the channel, I've been very, conservative with regards to what I expect from Bitcoin in the next little while, given that I wasn't willing to take any risk on Bitcoin trades at the current moment, and for Ethereum for that matter. And we can see, based on that idea, that we see that Bitcoin could be getting into a corrective move, even into some sideways consolidation. We will have a few peaks and valleys to endure before we see Bitcoin continue to the upside. And in the meantime, we could take full advantage of the peaks and valleys that we're going to get on more volatile assets, such as the altcoin market. And we can see, the altcoin market right now coming down. We have Solana coming down, BNB coming down, XRP, of course, a lot of the altcoins are coming down. Dogecoin is not taking it, grinding to the upside, but that's an anomaly. Of course, there are always going to be random projects that go against the grain and basically do their own thing. And right now, Doge is doing great, given the fact that we're getting negativity. However, let's keep on scrolling, and you can see that although the overall structure in the market is still higher highs and higher lows, we got to keep that in mind, guys. The structure in this trend that we have is still here. However, in the short term, we're still getting this pullback. We can see AVAX down 4%, Toncoin 2%, but look at Toncoin in the big picture, it's up significantly, right? Significantly. In the last 7 days, it's been up 17%, not including prior to that. But a 2% dip is enough to potentially bring some fear in the market. And guys, what I'm trying to say here is we're in a short-term retracement as of now. Okay, so it's all right if we see Bitcoin consolidate. It's okay if we see a bit of a dip. You just have to have those convictions and start shopping for those dips. In fact, is this the time to actually go shopping? In my opinion, not really. What we can see just on this page here, 2% dip, Near Protocol a little bit more. Of course, it's been a great gainer in the last little while, but 7% dip on Near. I'm expecting, a dip, a correction, and then a continuation. Aptos, the same thing. 5% is not really enough for me to consider this a buy the dip opportunity. I look for double-digit gains, but as well, I look for double-digit dips, at least 20% at minimum, before I'm interested to get my feet wet in some buys, right? So I'm looking for real retracements before I'm willing to take risk and look for horizontal support. Right now, the trend is still our friend. As you can see, as I'm scrolling through, higher highs, higher lows. And in fact, we're getting some anomalies like Mantle, MNT is the ticker, right now up 36%. So this is it, guys. It's about getting your capital into the right narratives, into the right projects that are ready to move, while, you know, we consolidate, Bitcoin consolidates and potentially, you know, shakes out a few people. We get some whipsaw price action, but we still have to be paying attention to the opportunities that the market gives us. Don't let the fear cloud your vision. Look for those opportunities, those altcoins that are at the bottom of the range, holding horizontal support, retracing to good levels, and that's when you start DCing. All right, guys, so let's just keep on going here. As you can see, the overall consensus here in the market is that we're generally down between 2 to 5%. Okay, we have some AI projects doing well based on some good partnerships out there. Ocean Protocol, we have Singularity Net. I think Fetch is all in on that. So we got some good news with regards to that, and we do also have some FUD coming out of the Coinbase camp. Of course, we'll talk about that all tonight. Guys, join me live at 7:30 Eastern. We'll definitely talk about the news. We'll talk about price action. And in fact, that would be the greatest time and place for you guys to request any projects you want me to cover. I'll pull out some charts. We'll come up with a plan, and I'll definitely put your requests in top priority. All right, guys, let's begin. Let's continue. I definitely want to go on to Bitcoin. I want to look at what Bitcoin is telling us, because if Bitcoin's showing us a continued weakness, I'm expecting more of a sell-off throughout the market. But despite the sell-offs, look at SUI, 13%. And then we have SAY holding up okay, not too bad, at least holding steady here. But then again, we get back to reality, 3 to 5%, 2 to 5% throughout the market. And guys, that's not enough of a breather, not enough of a dip. It could just be a healthy breather. We have Ribbon doing okay, 5%, not bad, holding steady for Ondo, bullish project lately, part of the real world asset narrative. And of course, today's project is also about the real world asset narrative. Maple, lower cap, of course, doing its thing, perhaps getting ready to run with all the other projects. Look at what's been happening with the Rio, guys, up significantly in the last little while. Definitely a market leader. But eventually the party is going to be over for Rio. In fact, we covered Rio real early back in the summer. Our entries are spot on. However, guys, there's still opportunities. Expect people to be taking profit off of the projects that get into a large cap territory, and then look for lower levels. Never mind, Rio is still small cap, guys. Reality, it's still small cap. There's a lot of opportunity still in Rio. I just wouldn't be buying into this green pump that we're seeing today. Never mind, guys, the market is still okay. I still feel like a 5% correction is nothing to worry about. I still feel like Bitcoin could be going sideways and giving the altcoins the opportunity that it deserves to get that altcoin season. All right, guys, let's begin. I know you're here to talk about charts. We'll begin looking at Bitcoin as a leading indicator to give us a sense of what Bitcoin could be doing in the immediate short term and how it could reflect into the altcoin market, and including Maple. MPL is the ticker. All right, guys, we can see that Bitcoin is still kind of in this range. I put a hypothetical symmetrical triangle outline here. It doesn't mean that it's absolutely going to happen. What it means is that I would expect some sort of consolidation, whether it be symmetrical, a triangular shape, ascending, descending, symmetrical, or even a flag of some sort where we kind of pen it out and go into a channel of some sort and then get a continuation to the upside. But until then, we got to be real with what's happening. We got to look at the momentum, we got to look at market sentiment, and ultimately we got to keep in mind that Bitcoin at the current moment is not really in a risk on scenario. In fact, I would say risk off, look for other opportunities. All right, guys, let's look at this in a little bit more detail. Guys, you know how I am, right? I'm not looking to take risk. Risk is public enemy number one for a trader, and what we really have to do is find opportunities that reduces our risk by finding risk to reward, good risk to reward, and obviously at horizontal supports. This thing right now, Bitcoin price, is definitely nowhere near a strong level of support. However, the momentum is strong in the sense that we have a lot of good things happening. The halving, about 30 days away, give or take. I think it's about 25 days away. Guys, it's around the corner. It's about to happen. Do we get a pre-halving dump? It could happen. We do have a bit of time to get a bit more of a correction, or at least let's go sideways for a bit and then continue to the upside. Regardless, Bitcoin, in my opinion, is not a time to get into fresh longs and get to aggressive in. In my opinion, right now, Bitcoin has done a great job from its bottom. It's up significantly from the bottom, and now it's about, figuring out what Bitcoin has in store for the rest of the market. Bitcoin, in my opinion, could be getting into a consolidation here based on the 4 hour. The daily is looking bearish still. You got to admit, there's nothing really happening here that's getting me bullish on the daily. We can see that the RSI is still kind of trekking down. You know, the EMA is still facing downwards. Yes, we hesitated here in the chop zone for a little while, but what about if we get a continuation to the downside, similar to what we had here? Okay, that's what my biggest fear is, especially at the current moment, that we get reset to lower levels. Does it have to be oversold, completely oversold? But a further correction to the downside might be around the corner, which could bring the price down to the bottom of this consolidation and give us maybe a higher low. And if that's the case, we still start to print out some sort of triangular pattern, which I am going to be prepared for. However, in this triangular pattern, we will see that the altcoin market will get boring, people will get fearful, and that would be an opportunity to be buying the dip. So full on be prepared for that, because when it does come down to here, and as you can see, we're getting a bit of negativity today already, again, 2 to 5% throughout the market, more or less. Those are opportunities to be accumulating for a potential breakout to the upside, even if it does mean a failed breakout for Bitcoin, a slightly higher high and a rejection. Because if that happens, it's going to be an indication of a distribution here where people are slowly going to be selling off and taking profits and then finally getting a bigger rollover. But as of now, guys, just understand that if we consolidate in this area, a stop loss underneath this thick white line is probably your best invalidation at this current moment. Until we build more data, we're going to improve it, obviously. But if you plan on getting into a fresh long, basically the question you should be asking yourself is, where do I put my stop loss? And it has to be below this previous low, because if it does break below, we're coming down to about 52K. That's the target, the bearish target, ultimately, if we roll over, before we can get a bit of horizontal support. But in the meantime, we could definitely hold above this thick white line, which is at about 61,300, give or take. And that way we can get into a bag for a continuation to the upside and mitigate risk, because if we break below, you want to get out. That's why DCAing at the bottom of the range, when we do get that retracement to lower levels, that would probably be your best entry to get into a fresh long. Other than that, guys, shorting the market is quite dangerous right now. We know that a lot of bullish sentiment is out there, so I would reserve the shorts, obviously, depending on the time frame and depending on your risk tolerance. But you know, all the power to you if you plan on shorting, if that's your thing. But as of now, there's no edge for a short, in my opinion. Let's take a look at the 4-hour real quick, and then we'll jump right into Maple. We do see that the volatility is contracting based on the fact that the 4-hour hasn't gotten oversold or overbought, severely overbought in a good while, particularly oversold, right? So that means that we're slowly contracting, and based on the contraction, we can expect a consolidation, eventually getting closer to an apex where we eventually break out with some volume, which is also called an expansion phase, where we see the price expand in a direction. Whether it be bullish or bearish is yet to be seen. However, guys, expansion to the upside is likely probability right now, because it's a continuation pattern. A triangular pattern, symmetrical and ascending, suggests a continuation. And in fact, even if it's descending, I know the probability of a breakdown is higher. Guys, it's still in a continuation. It's still coming in from a bullish trend, and it's likely to continue to the upside and maybe give us a failed breakout where we trap some liquidity and then come down to lower levels. Okay, so we're going to keep that in mind. It just, as of now, you can see that the 4 hours not looking good. EMAs are facing down, red histogram bars. And after yesterday's video and yesterday's chat about, you know, de-risking at this level, we can see why now. We can actually see why that we even sweep the highs and got people wrecked on longs and then came right back down. Why? Because this is not the time to take risk at a nice retracement level to the upside where people are expecting consolidation. All right, guys. And of course, we got a lot of, you know, a bit of FUD out here that is a very good sign of potential price manipulation. And of course, we'll touch upon that tonight at 7:30 Eastern. All right, guys, let's begin looking at Maple. MPL is the ticker. Guys, the reason why I'm covering this is because the narrative. It is part of a very, very strong narrative. It's part of the real world asset narrative, RWA. And we're seeing projects like Realio, Goldfinch, TrueFi, many others. Prop C is doing well. Many projects at this current moment are running up based on the narrative. The reason why I like this one is not only based on fundamentals, because to be honest, I'm not even totally fundamentally bullish because I don't know much about it. You got to do that research. However, I know its narrative. I know the premise. I understand enough to suggest that I'm interested in the price action. And let's look at the price action at the current moment. Look at this scenario. guys, we're looking for a breakout. Are you gonna wait for it to break out like Goldfinch did and Realio did? At this point, we're still at the bottom of the range. In fact, we got rejected today, and we're back testing the previous breakout zone. Let's zoom in a little bit. Let's see what's going on. You can see that we got this top, this top, this top, and if we kind of zoom in, and you can see what happened today, we came up with a tweezer top and came right back down and are currently contending those tops. We're trying to see if we're going to hold them as support. Look at the momentum. The daily right now is not overbought. We are waiting to get overbought here, guys. We're waiting to get the major move to the upside, because that's where you get the biggest moves, is when we get to the extreme levels of momentum, overbought and oversold. And you can see that we're slowly trekking to overbought conditions. So what I'm trying to say here, guys, is that I'm preparing for a breakout on Maple. Now, if I can get in at horizontal supports where I do see levels of which I can mitigate risk, I am even more interested, right? We have a volume gap that kind of gets some support right here at about $18, $19, which again, I am interested here because a lot of volume right here to act as support. So I'm gonna, keep that in mind, of course. And if we do break down lower levels, we do have a volume gap at this level. If we dare even come down here, honestly, I don't even think so. I think that ultimately we can come down as low as at about $18 and then start buying the dip and accumulating for potential breakout. So what I'm going to do is going to highlight that. And again, the thesis is because this is where we begin the volume. Look at the volume profile. Let me zoom in a little bit more. You can see this cluster picks up significantly at about $19. So if we hit that wall and we get that support, I wouldn't be surprised. So for that matter, for that reason, I'm going to put a DCA box, which is my yellow boxes. I'm going to put that in right now, just to say, like, guys, if you're preparing for continuation and you're preparing for this breakout, this might be your last opportunity. Now, the 200 daily could definitely come up and trek up a little bit higher and potentially act as support as a safety net. You can see that we're above the 200. We broke above, back tested, spring right off of it in an attempt at a breakout. We got a rejection. Guys, it's also all based off of Bitcoin. Bitcoin got a rejection, and the market right now is looking red based off the FUD and the rejection. And right now we can see that Maple's down 10%. So you're not necessarily buying the tops this wick up here. And if you zoom in, it does look a beautiful tweezer top reversal pattern. So this is why I'm saying, guys, prepare for a bit of a retracement. At worst case, we do come down to this level, which is at about 11 cents, more or less. But I'm expecting the market to hold up given the fact that the narrative is so bullish and so strong. So I'm not expecting a huge sell-off. I'm expecting an accumulation, a continuation of this accumulation. And if we can get close enough to it, this body of supply and demand, and we could potentially be able to pack a bag at a better level. Given the fact that we got a higher high here, it gives us an indication that we are beginning that trend. We're continuing the trend to the upside because the trend is your friend. Higher highs and higher lows. And it looks like we're looking for another move to the upside after we get rid of, this little sell-off profit-taking scenario. Now, let's look big picture here a second here, guys, because really I do have a lot of confidence in this area because of all the confluence, right? And it's all a game of probability. Now, what I want to do is zoom out and kind of look at this as a big picture scenario. Look at the preparation here. We are preparing for a bigger picture scenario. The bigger picture scenario is the snap from $24, $25 all the way about to $49, $50. If we can actually get enough volume, market participation, bullish sentiment, bullish bids at lower levels, we can actually break out of this horizontal resistance that we already tried to do and got interrupted based off of what's happening with Bitcoin and, all the rest. And we actually break out through the volume gap. As you can see, very little volume, straight up, straight down, no volatility in between to act as resistance or support for that matter. So what that means is that if we pick up enough bulls here, we can go for another attempt and break right through and hit this level. And then at this level is where I would suggest be prepared to get defensive on those gains. Why? Because unless we build a horizontal support below, it's likely to get rejected and get a retracement again. And that's where you kind of want to descale, de-risk, take a bit of profit, trail up stop losses, get defensive on those gains, because you can see based off of this volume as well that the market is getting interested. The market is interested in the narrative based off of Realio, the market leader at the current moment, one of the big heavyweights that are moving just recently. Of course, Ondo as well, doing well, but that's a project that just came out of nowhere and just smacking it, and all of a sudden we see this volume. So we can understand that the overall narrative is going to get some eyes here. And BlackRock, don't forget, we're going to get get a lot of that because of the adoption of the real world asset narrative from the heavyweight institutional markets that are getting involved and running projects off of the Ethereum network. So bullish, bullish, bullish. I do feel that Maple has a great entry in the next couple of days. Wait for the retracement, start DCAing into this dip, because we can get some good entries for the up and coming bull run. All right, guys, if I've offered you any value in this video, you know what you got to do. You got to slap the like button. It does really help out with the algorithm. Of course, if you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description below. Feel free to join that Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. Guys, see you tonight, 7:30 Eastern. Take care, have a good one, and don't forget, buy the dip.